started to fall, and where were you? How could I know you were falling too? Grabbing the wind, cutting my skin, but it's hard because I'm falling. Tell me why I'm falling. Oh, life's calling, but it's hard because I'm falling.
To
Oh my baby, got me staring at you. So I'm crazy. Won't you bend that back for me? We won't stop. Got your feet both locked. You get to fly with me. I can take you down for a ride. I take you around my life. Jaywalking, crosswalking, lip locking, but you, I know it, you know it, we make it. So I'm crazy. Oh my baby, got me staring at you. So I'm crazy. Won't you bend that back for me? We won't stop. Got your feet both locked. You get to fly with me. I can take you down for a ride. I take you around my life. Jaywalking, crosswalking, lip locking, but you, I know know it, we make it. I can take you down for a ride. I take you around my life. Jaywalking, crosswalking, left looking at you. I know it, you know it, we make it.
Okie dokie. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the EGL Waveline Week number 7. This is your host Xernian. Obviously, I'm the producer. If you don't know by now, if that means I'm not complaining enough. So, as usual, I'm joined by Clutch, Matt Pizza, and Sultan. So, Sultan, last week you weren't here. You were doing something apparently very important. So, how was that, Sultan?
It was pretty good. Uh, well, I don't know if it was worth it, but it wasn't bad. It was pretty chill. But I missed Waveline. I missed especially Mad Pizza.
Ooh, Matt Pizza, he missed you. Go give
it's
him a
it's
hug.
it's a,
It's like
it's an honor to be in the same let's say podcast every week.
same content call as him.
Yeah.
Back on the desk, Matt Pizza. How are you doing tonight? If you guys don't know, Matt Pizza, he's our eSub caster. He casted EDL last week, games 1 and 3, and unfortunately tonight we have Packapal and Colonel. The actual EGL casters. So Matt Pizza, how are you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm doing great knowing that I don't have to e-subcast. We have our cracked duo, Pack Paul and Colonel, cast in the chip of this week.
True, last week it was actually me and Clutch on the casting desk. Oh, I'm sorry if anyone had to witness that, had to hear that. I'm not a color caster or a caster in general. And last but not least, we have Clutch. He's been back from his vacation for a little bit, back in action, just released his power rankings. So, Clutch, how are you doing then?
I'm doing good. I'm back, full force. Got some intense and important games today for EGL, so can't wait to get right into those.
True, and we will. So we're just gonna do our usual routine, look at last week. So I think the biggest upset just looking at this was Hyperion Origin versus Big Duck Entourage. Obviously, Hyperion Origin was undefeated until this week. They were 5-0 in the series, and this series after losing to BDE brings them to 5-1. So I think this was the biggest upset since we had all voted for Hyperion last week, and we'll get into that in a second. But the rest of our series, we had Hawthorne Esports versus Flippa United. It was a 2-0 for Flippa. I do think this was also an upset. In one way or another, Hawthorne I think has been having a pretty okay season. They started off strong and then started to kind of falter a little, but I don't think they're a bad team regardless. And Flippa I think was kind of, they adopted the 0-1 record and they started doing better and better as the weeks have gone by. So I think Flippa has really started to identify, exactly their play style and play to their strengths. And then the next series, we have VBU Krypton versus Abyssal Sapphire. This was a rescheduled game, and VBU did win 2-1. I think VBU won the first game, Abyssal won the second, and then VBU won the third one. If someone wants to
Yeah,
confirm or
I
deny.
I believe
believe so.
Yeah, so you can tell how closely we pay attention to
they
all
lost
these
game
things.
one.
That
Oh, they lost game
yeah,
one? Oh, yes, I remember that. Yeah, they lost game one. Okay. Yeah, see, it's not like we're like trying to pay attention to like gold and silver at the same time. But then we have the last and streamed match from last week, which was Monkeys Rising. We've never seen them on stream before, so I don't know. It was kind of a surprise to me. Monkeys Rising versus Revolution Gold. It was a 2-0 for Monkeys Rising. So this was another kind of upset I saw. Monkeys Rising, I think, was a good team coming into it. We didn't expect a lot coming from Monkeys Rising because, they're a silver team playing in kind of a gold league, and then we weren't really sure if, they would be able to just like match up to the skill of some of the other players just based on rank. So Monkeys Rising was having a little bit of a rougher season, and I don't know, Packapal, he kind of like leaked the boot camp. He was like, Monkeys Rising, we're coming out pretty confident from the monkey camp, the monkey boot camp. And they pulled out a 2-0 last week. So I do think that was another kind of surprise. And when you're this late into the season, by the way, remember guys, we are on week 7. This is the last week of the regular season, I believe. And it's getting close, like this is the last week. You're on week 7. There are no more, weeks to really like fix your record. So before coming into this series, Monkeys Rising was 1-4. So this brings them to a 2-4, and it's really, I don't think they make playoffs. And is that a scenario, Clutch?
Huh? Who can make playoffs? Monkeys
Monkeys
Rising?
Rising, yeah.
Yeah, they can still make. I mean,
Because I think this is
shout
the
out to Chinese
series.
Spy. Hold on. Quick,
I
quick
think,
thing.
yeah.
I'm,
Okay. Oh my god, I
I'm,
got
I'm, I'm just gonna
shushed.
say,
holy.
shout out
Sheesh.
to Chinese Spy who did every single scenario. I have a spreadsheet. He figured out every single scenario and how every single team would make it. So shout out to him.
Dang.
Absolute MVP. Monkeys Rising actually out of all 4 of the teams in tiebreakers and stuff like that have the highest chance to make playoffs. By the way.
I remember last week, right? We were talking about it, Clutch and I, when we were on the, on the desk. I think they had to have won this series to have a chance for playoffs. I think if they lost last week, then they would have no chance for playoffs. So this is a really big win, I think, for Monkeys Rising, not just showing like, they're still here to win, they're still here to play, and the fact that like you said, this puts them in contention for playoffs, and now they have the highest chance to make playoffs. So I think it's a really, I mean, there were a lot of really good series this week. So we'll start from the top, Hyperion Origin versus Big Duck Entourage. So, no one actually guessed a BDE win last week. However, Sultan and Matt Pizza, you both guessed 2-1 for Hyperion. So that means, you thought that Hyperion was going to drop the game to
Oh
oh, he's
my
sighing.
god.
All right, so with the sigh, we'll start with Sultan. You said 2-1 Hyperion. So what happened? Do you
This
think
is
it turned
this
into a
is
2-0?
crazy. I literally say I've been predicting them to lose every single week. They've been going undefeated. Then the first week I was like, okay, it's the last 2 weeks of the regular season. Maybe they're just like the god team that they cannot lose. The one week that I jump onto the the hype train crashes down really hard.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
guess I guess Altazi and BD, they were like too good.
It sounds
Um
like it's a little bit of the clutch VBU reverse psychology.
yeah, I guess it's just I did like give the BD that one game. I think they're actually a decent team now, since they have a better win condition in the top lane. But I didn't think it would be a 2-0. I thought Hyperion would at least like take a game after going undefeated the whole season. But it kind of shows that they're not they're not how do you say unkillable, I guess be a
Mm-hmm.
word.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it shows that anyone can still beat anyone in the league.
Yeah, and one thing, like, I'm just kind of looking through I wasn't able to watch both of the games. I think I caught most of the second game. I'm just going to take a glance at the drafts really quickly. BDE in their second draft, B1, B2, Ezreal Soraka, actually. So we talked about the Soraka pick a little. We saw it come out in the Revolution and Monkeys Rising game. It was an R5, Sharp Otter 6. Dude, I like the R5 Soraka. But, Clutch, I'm just gonna ask for your opinion. I do think Ezreal is a good first pick. Ezreal obviously very safe, very strong ADC. Obviously that was a patch behind, so still obviously good champion and he's in a good spot right now. But Clutch, what are your thoughts on Soraka in this current meta then? And why do you think BDE was able to pick Soraka and kind of get away with it?
She's broken. She needs to get nerfed. I don't know why this champion's in the game. Dude, all right. So I'm going to give you a little bit of insight. So me and Nodal were duoing in solo queue. I was playing Soraka support. We went down 12.5k and we came back and won because Soraka did 39k healing at 35 minutes.
Uh,
Nerf this champion. Dude, why can I just heal your entire health bar through Grievous Wound? It's not balanced. The only way you counter Soraka low key is if you just destroy her in lane, which it's not very hard to destroy Soraka in lane. But against a team that has a weaker bot lane in all seriousness, like possibly a weaker bot lane, which Hyperion, like obviously you would say their bot lane would be their weakest point on their team. That the if you don't know how to punish this, then it's just completely broken. But against a better team, a better bot lane, yeah, Soraka's doomed. You can't get away with it.
True, when you see the Soraka, I'm always tempted to pick the Thresh, the Blitzcranks, and just focus Soraka. She can't heal herself, unless she presses Q. So, yeah, I agree with you. I think Soraka is an easily punishable pick. So, but like left unchecked, it obviously, heals literally just through everything. I feel like you said, Clutch. I think Hyperion maybe has this. We need to play like from they need to play ahead, right? It's hard to play from behind. I'm thinking is the Hyperion way. I've seen Hyperion play enough to know that they play very well as like a group of five. Dracana obviously and Attila. Like their whole team. I feel is able to draw their own leads, but when they play from behind, it's we don't know how to get ourselves back into the game or minimize that kind of loss. So I think Big Duck Entourage obviously a very good and big win from them. But Matt Pizza, I kind of want your opinion on this Irelia pick in game number 2. So Irelia was picked R3. So Matt Pizza, they saw the Mordekaiser also B3. So what are your thoughts on this
I think
Irelia?
we know the Rune Mage Sorella. It's pretty top tier. It is a really good. It's one of his signature champs, but this matchup Aurelia into Mordekaiser, like Aurelia needs to like it can be a volatile matchup. Most of the time, what ends up happening is Aurelia just controls the wave, gets a CS lead, and is just able to naturally beat out the Mordekaiser. Um, but you know, Mordekaiser can just build Bramble, and Aurelia can't really deal against a Bramble Mordekaiser. Mordekaiser just does so much damage, and in like if we from game one, right? Let's go back a little bit. Game one. Can we just talk about the fact that Psych was 8-0 and 12 on Malphite.
You know, Matt Pizza,
Like,
I don't know if that reminds you of like a Malphite that got really, really strong and then like is
listen,
unkillable and
Malphite is just the greatest champion ever to
uh,
exist. Okay, you can be down like 50 CS and still be impactful and still say GG top gap at the end of the game.
he took Comet actually and still went tank. So
Hmm. And like, so going into game two, right? So Rune Mage got his Aurelia, and Psych got his Mordekaiser. And like Riftmaker is still busted, guys. Like that item is still really strong. And it's just not a fun matchup to be on Aurelia. Cause like sure, you can dash around the minions, you can dodge his Q, but he'll just auto you. And like if you auto him back, it's oh Bramble, reduced
no
healing.
Bramble, and then you just lose.
And then you just lose. Like even with Divine Thunder or Bork, like it's such a hard lane to play.
Yeah, and the one thing
And
I like about Rune Mage, sorry, is you
uh
know they picked Rune Mage, Lee Sin, and Irelia both of these games. So obviously Hyperion has a lot of respect and a lot of faith in Rune Mage when you're picking these kind of higher damage, not tank duty champions in the top lane. So
mhm.
I like that they trust Rune Mage, and I like that we're seeing these carry top laners. But yeah, like you said, Matt Pizza, becomes a problem when you're just put into like losing matchups.
Mhm. And like, just look at this matchup for Aurelia, right? Like, sure, you can come out of lane ahead, but then you have a Volibear, you have a Soraka Silence, you have an Ezreal who can E away, and you have a Vladimir who can just W. Like, the team fight that Aurelia is looking to do, it's just such a difficult team fight. You have to get ahead, and unfortunately, he just wasn't able to get ahead. And Aurelia from behind is not a fun champ. It's not fun to play an Aurelia from behind.
Yeah, but I mean, we'll look at the next series now. So Hawkthorn Esports versus Flippa United. So I'm taking a quick glance at our predictions last week. There was one person, actually two people, I think. Yes, two people. One of them was me. I don't know why I like forget my own predictions. But um, me and Sultan actually did guess 2-1 for Flippa. So Sultan, I know that you've been a Flippa fan for a while and then you like lost faith in them for a bit. And now you're back on the Flippa train. So
Well, well, I lost my faith after they lost the first 2 weeks, but then they kind of um got their record back on the track. They're like, I'm not sure what they are, what their record as of right now. It's like 3-3 or like 4-2. I think it's like 3-3, right? So
BDE is currently 2-4 and their
2-4.
record, yeah.
Okay. Well, wait, Flippa is 2-4?
BDE. Flippa is 3-3. Sorry, I
Okay.
heard BDE.
No. Okay. So like, yeah, they've been doing better. Moving on, like as the regular season moved on, and Hawkthorn, um, they, I think you guys talked about it. They started strong, but they've been struggling. Um, as the regular season, as we were coming closer to playoffs. So I don't know. I feel like Flippa is really strong. They're probably at a state where they can suddenly lose to a team that's below them, but they can like just stomp a team that's like higher than them, like Hyperion or VBO. I think they're like at a really they're like the middle of the pack, the playoff gatekeeper team.
Playoff gatekeepers. Honestly, I saw the Riv 60 scoreline on the Tristana.
Well,
21, 2, and 7. It's
like if you're giving I guess they were kinda egoing in the bot lane because like counters a really good ADC, so he was like, I can deal with Tristana, but like just ban it.
just ban
They,
it,
they don't
yeah.
take the risk.
It's really
Like
strong, like in so many different ways. You can flex Tristana between mid ADC, very good in both
yeah,
positions, and then if you just like see this, 21-2-7 played it before. We've seen it Riv 60 play the Tristana on stream before too.
yeah,
Like this guy would just jump in, drop the bomb, EQ, bam, 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 like boom,
yeah.
dead.
It's
Like
like jump in, get a kill, jump out like an assassin. Someone tries to go in and her, she just presses R. Now you're like a million
yeah. So
range
sometimes,
backwards. It's
like
like
you said, the best counter to it is just to ban it. But yeah, I mean, Flippa has been doing a lot better as the weeks have gone on, so I think
Yeah.
they're better than their record shows. But other than that, Clutch and Matt Pizza, both of you said Hawkthorn 2-1. So Matt Pizza, I know you've been a Hawkthorn fan for a while. So
Hmm.
what do you think, what's got to change for Hawkthorn going into this last week?
Going into this last week, I think Hawkstone really needs to just like their solo laners just need to like play safe. And as much the top
Oh
just
my.
is play safe top, but they do just need to survive the lane. Like try to minimize loss as much as you can. Like if they're top lane, if they're just able to neutralize the solo laners, then I do think that ARF and counters are able to like just 2v8 take over the game. But it is going to be hard going against some of these teams, some of these like really good teams, right? Like and sometimes neutralizing your lane opponent isn't going to be able to happen. Like they're just going to be able to just get ahead. And like for Hawkton to win, then they have to bet on neutralizing the lane opponents and getting counters ahead and getting ARF ahead and putting them on like these like 1v9 picks like the Viego, like the Tristana, Samira, Jinx, those type of 1v9 champs.
Yeah. Did you know Samira is actually like the champion in solo queue that has the highest number of pentakills?
I believe it. I may or may
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
have done a pentakill
I
yesterday,
think
but
number two
I
is
think.
Master Yi. So
Yep.
maybe
Yep.
we have
Indeed.
Arth play Master Yi and some like Samira with on counters. So you
And
know,
then Katarina mid, and
yeah, and
everyone
then we
gets a
have
pentakill.
exactly. So we're just like guaranteeing a pentakill, right? Yeah, I that's how the
Mhm.
math works. So Clutch, I know you're also a Hawkthorn fan for quite a while. Do you have any like other thoughts on what Hawkthorn needs to change? This is their last weekend. Losing will most likely take them out of playoff contention.
Go have fun.
He says, "Go have fun." Okay.
Yeah, that's all I've got to say. Have fun. I mean, they've lost so many weeks in a row. Like, it just has got to be demoralizing. So, like, yeah, your season's on the line, but you got to have fun at the same time. You know what I mean?
True, your
You, j-
mystery skin's on the line.
you got to have a good time. All right. You can't play League and just lose every game and not have fun. Having fun comes first. So, at the end of the day, pick something
True.
spicy. You're against Hyperion, right? Do something crazy. I would like to see something crazy. That'd be cool. But yeah, in all honesty, just have a good time. I mean, if they do lose, they can still make it. They actually have a lot of head to heads, but you don't want to lose.
Yeah. But then, so we're gonna look at the next series on VBU Krypton versus Abyssal Sapphire. I was able to watch, I think, two of the three games. I don't think I watched most of the first one. But what I saw was VBU again is a team I think that plays really well from ahead and sometimes not the best from behind. And which is a normal thing for a lot of teams because it's really hard to know like when to minimize losses, right? And give things away like dragon and stuff. We see so many pro teams and so many people that like they're like, oh, dude, should we fight for this dragon? And then they like walk up to it and they like kind of dance around for a bit, let them just take the dragon and then disperse. Like you waste so much time, you don't get gold. And as a gold team, I think that it's a really common mistake, not just for VBU, but a lot of other teams. So obviously VBU still was able to pull ahead 2-1. And I think their third game was the best game of the series. I think they won by like, I don't even remember the number. But yeah, I still think Abyssal Sapphire was still able, obviously, still a good team. Pulled a game off of, VBU. Let me just double check our. Everyone said VBU last week 2-1, 2-0, 2-0. So Matt Pizza, you said a 2-0 for VBU last week. They did lose a game to Abyssal Sapphire, so what do you think is, VBU's weakness then?
Yeah, I mean, when I was looking at draft, I didn't expect the Seraphine to go to their carry player. I didn't expect them, you to put Seraphine duty on your carry mid. So that was an interesting choice. And you know, the top side of that may or may not have created a 11 and no Fiora for the other side of the team that was somewhat unkillable. Just a little bit. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, it was just a weird draft from VBU. Like we knew, like one knew how VBU played, right? Like it was just carry mid, and the side lanes just survived. Like if the side lanes got lead, that's good. it helps the game out. But the Silence just look to survive, and their team fights were on point with Kaiden at the core. But if you have Kaiden on like Seraphine duty, then it's just like you just don't have the damage. Then you're really hoping your side lanes to like do something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they did something. They did create an 11 no Fiora, and they did create a 7-4 Vayne. And then yeah, like that defeat was just it was just a misplay and a misdraft. So VBU decided, yeah, let's actually win the game. And then they decided to actually draft the next two games, right? They gave Kat and Yone. They put Akblo on set, Alpha on Hecarim, and like they were just able to win. And like it does really show that
Yeah, like
draft matters.
they have to kind
Yeah.
of play to that like familiar style, like you're saying.
Hmm.
So I agree with that. So then Clutch, I know you have also been an Abyssal fan for a while, but this week you're correct in voting for VBU. So what do you think then Abyssal needs to kind of fix going to the last week here?
So Abyssal's up against this week, and Rev made some roster changes. They are subbing in a new jungler. So we'll see kind of how that's going to work for Rev. Obviously, we're going to get to them here in a couple of minutes when they played Monkeys Rising. But Abyssal, I think, is like I've said last week, they're the solid number 3 team. I think they belong exactly where they are. I think they have some really good players, and James Moriarty, Fire of the Fox. I think Golem is a really, really solid player and is underrated. But to me, I don't really see them beating anyone in top 2, but I don't see them losing to anyone below them. It's like that team that is literally exactly where they should be. For them to win, I think they need to play towards the bot side of the map. Clearly, that is their strong point. And if they can get their mid or their AD ahead, I think they should just be able to win almost any game. They have a really good team, and just in general, this team is pretty solid across the board.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm an Abyssal fan. I've been one ever since week 1. Still waiting on my jersey. It's okay. Probably lost in stuck in the customs. But Sultan, you also voted for VBU last week. So, what do you think then has been working for them? If he's here, Sultan.
Okay,
Ooh.
okay.
Oh my!
I know.
Oh,
I muted my mic so that it wouldn't take any sounds. But our Golem players are too good. What can I say? They have been, I think, the strong point for the team, especially like Toxin and Chitin. Um, I think Allfire has been having a really good split. Thinking that he hasn't been playing jungle for a long time in gold. He's been like doing really good into other gold junglers that are in the league, even platinum ones. And Akblo has been playing pretty good. For someone who I think came out of IBS last split, right?
I think he was in
So
gold last, but still.
I'm not really sure, but like uh they've been just playing really solid. And I know Kaiten and Toxin, they're almost like at the platinum level of play at this point, so
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Yeah,
just
so it's
expecting a
like
lot from them.
yeah, so it's kind of like a gold team that's like slowly like transitioning
Yeah.
themselves into a plat
Like
team.
they have a top jungle that is like slowly becoming like really good gold players,
Uh-huh.
and they have like people like Samurai, Toxin, and Kaiten who has been playing in gold for a while. They've been
I mean,
um
Samurai's also been playing in plat
in
more than
platinum. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, his solo queue was silver for a long time, but
Yeah,
we don't
that's
talk
true.
about that. So they've been like accomplished players overall. They won leagues. They're here as the experienced players, and Allfire and Act they're the up and coming players. I
Hmm.
think they're the best team. I think most people would say Hyperion, but I think VBU has better win conditions, especially after like seeing Kaiten
Hmm.
like carry in VBU to a chip. He's like he just plays consistent every single time, and I
Hmm.
think his champ pool is more a carry style than other mid laners that would probably give an edge to VBU when they're facing teams in playoffs.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you. It's I mean, we're starting to see a lot of trends, a lot of teams kind of reach like a certain point in their season where we kind of see where, how they would face up against other teams. But with that, the last series we're going to look at was Monkeys Rising versus Revolution Esports. Obviously, this is the streamed match. So, I don't know why Twitch has kept my like EDL streams from last week in limbo. There was like some outage in the stream or the Twitch like stream servers. So apparently it still says broadcasting. They're like 70-hour streams. I don't know. I guess we're just that cracked. Apparently Twitch said they're fixing it, so who knows? Maybe they'll release those eventually. But Monkeys Rising versus Revolution, 2-0 for Monkeys Rising. So Matt Pizza, you did say it was going to be a 2-1 for Revolution. Everyone guessed Revolution last week, but Matt Pizza, you and I, and Sultan, we only guessed 2-1 except for Clutch. So Matt Pizza, as one of the people who said 2-1 for Revolution, and I'm pretty sure you watched the stream, right? Yeah? Say yes?
I did. I did.
Okay, okay.
But okay. So like Paka's monkey boot camp. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know what he's feeding them. He's
The
been feeding
jungle
them some like
gym,
high
that's what he
quality
should call it.
jungle gym. The
Paul, if you're
jungle gym.
listening, can you call it the jungle gym? Thank you.
Hackapal's jungle gym. I don't know
Yes.
what's happening in there. They must be giving them some really good bananas or something, man. But like, holy cow, this like, I did not expect Monkeys Rising to like play as well as they did, and they 2-0'd Rev too. Now, Monkeys Rising is like they're like a straight out of IBS team. That's what I've always considered them, right? And like for them to get a 2-0 against Rev, it's huge for them. It's a huge moral boost for them. And like I'm looking at like their draft, and it was a solid draft. Ayoked popped off both games consecutively, and like the team's macro was just so good. They just played so well together, and like it was just good. And like Rev was just like they're just falling apart at the seams. They weren't able to withstand Pakapal's jungle gym boost. I don't know, man. Like holy cow.
Yeah, and one thing that I really like is that, Monkeys Rising, even though they've had a rough season, they haven't given up. And I think that's one of the biggest
Mhm.
things. There are a lot of teams that kind of like start off, bad in the season. You start off with a rough season, and that's normal because, if you're a new team or, you're still first playing in a gold league, you're going to struggle a little bit, and that's normal and that's expected. But the one thing I love about Monkeys Rising is that they're still trying and they're still pushing. So obviously, this 2-0 I think was really big for them. And I kind of have to applaud them for that. So Revolution, I mean, I think they're still a good team. Obviously, we don't know exactly what's going to happen after these roster changes, but alas, that is how that is. So Clutch, as the only person who's at 2-0 for Revolution, do you think, it's the R5 Soraka that kind of tipped the scales?
Um, yeah, I have no comment. Um,
No
they
comment.
played like they were playing an engage, and sometimes when you play a lot of engage champions and you pick an enchanter, you get enchanter syndrome. There's a reason why they buffed the range on Spell Thief's Edge so you could ward further away so you don't die. But sometimes you think you have 200 armor, you think you're playing Leona, and you walk into them and you're like, oh well, I'm dead. There's no way I get out. I'm not that tanky. And I mean, Monkeys Rising honestly just looked like the better team on the day. They looked like they knew what they were doing, came in with a solid plan, and kind of took it to Revolution.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. Monkeys Rising definitely looked like a new team, and I mean, I'm kind of excited to see how they do this week, and if playoffs is in their hands. But Sultan, last but not least, do you have any closing thoughts on this series?
Hmm. I think Rev got draft gapped. Like I think game one, Rocker and Chinese Spy, they played Zen and Seraphine mid, Zen jungle and Seraphine mid, and like it seemed like they were the like kind of what won them the game, and then game two they just gave them the same deal mid jungle, and it's definitely they didn't have an answer for it, so. It's
Yeah.
good that they're probably practicing things and being able to execute them when it comes down to it. It's a pretty good look for monkeys. Um, yeah, monkeys all the way. They're they're
Monkeys all the way.
they're gonna win another chip.
I'm trademarking the jungle gym thing right now, so Pack-a-Paul, I'm gonna be expecting some some PayPal. I'll give you my PayPal,
Oh my.
Pack-a-Paul. Anyways, we spent a little bit of time on the recap, so we're gonna go right into predictions now. So Hyperion Origin versus Hawkthorne Esports. It's looking a little one-sided this week. So Sultan, we'll go right back to you. You're the only one who said 2-0 for Hyperion instead of a 2-1.
Hmm, I think Hawkstone has been playing really bad, and
Okay,
thinking that
Jesus.
like it's just
man, just
they've
laying it
been
down.
on a fall, and although Hyperion lost last week to BDE, I think I will just see that one as a fluke. It happens to every team. You can lose games sometimes. Hopefully they're gonna go back on the winning streak. And if they lose, literally FF, these guys are just like playing to grief my predictions. Like the 2 weeks that I predict
Or
them to
like
win, they
Hawkthorne
lose.
listens to Clutch and they just have fun.
Yeah, I don't know.
True.
It's kind of crazy. But
Yeah.
yeah, hopefully Hyperion wins and they don't grief my predictions. Let's go
Yeah.
Hyperion.
So Matt Pizza, you're also saying 2-1 for Hyperion on the day. So, like we talked about before, what do you think then Hyperion is going to look to change for this week since they lost last week to BDE?
I think this week, they just need to. Ah, I'm thinking about what happened last week, right? Against when they played
Hmm.
against BD, and like Sack was just able to like just get a lead, get a huge lead from himself, and he was able to help out the other lanes, and like all the other lanes did good as well. So I think in this matchup, Hyperion just needs to like work on their micro mostly. And from what I've seen before in some of the stream games, Hyperion's macro, they're pretty good at their macro. They know how to team fight. They're really a strong team fighting team, but they just need to work on getting those solo lane leads, right? Working on just like adjusting their play style so that they'll be able to better win the games. And I think for Hyperion, it would be a huge moral boost if they're able to 2-0 this game.
Hmm.
But I'm not gonna like throw Hyperion under the rug, or yeah, I'm not gonna throw Hawkthorn under the rug. They were a good team coming into EGL, and I'm gonna give them the game. I do believe in counters. I know he's a good, capable ADC. Um, but I think overall Hyperion is just gonna take this because their solo laners are just gonna dominate the game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of in the same train of thought as you. Hyperion, I think, is probably just going to be the better team coming in on the day. But like you said,
Mhm.
Matt Pizza, I'm giving Hawkthorne the one game just because I think, they're going to have so much fun that just, oh, look, guys, their nexus blew up. What happened? But
Exactly.
I don't really have too much to add on. I think you've kind of said everything I wanted to say. So, Clutch, any final thoughts on this series?
So you said what did they need to change earlier, right? Like what do they
Yeah.
need to change to beat Hawkthorne? Well, no offense to Hawkthorne, but Dracana's not against Survey this week. That's all I'm saying. And they can just do what they usually do, and should be a win.
It'd be a win. Yeah, I mean, it really just it's really hard to say like we can't really say that Hyperion's a bad team because they're not. They're definitely like the strongest team in the league just showing through their record. But, just from last week too, we've seen that they're, not unstoppable. There are cracks in the strategy and they're not perfect. So, Hawkthorne, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. If they win this week, I mean, I'll be surprised. That's not like a mean thing, but I would be surprised. You're against like the top team in the league. So this was our stream match actually until everyone like cried and wanted to revote, and then I had to like go make new graphics. So thank you guys. Thanks for the vote. Okay,
Hmm.
we'll move on. The next series we're gonna look at is VBU Krypton versus Monkeys Rising. So Sultan, you and I, we're on the same team here. 2-1 Monkeys Rising. Clutch and Map
Okay.
Pizza 2-0 VBU. So Sultan, let's
I,
start
I
with
need I
you.
need to say something in the middle.
Yes.
I remember a message from you in the content general that you still didn't do the graphics when we were doing the voting. Do not
For
lie to the people.
What?
Well, because I was about to make them, and well,
Ah,
I had most of
ah.
them. Okay, people don't know this, but I've made like half of the graphics at like week
We
1,
know.
because for gold we knew all of the stream matches, so I made all of like the intermission
Ah,
screens at once, and I made
all
like
good.
my stream starting
You're putting
ones.
in a huge work.
Yeah, Yeah,
That's
and
just the
then all I
talk around
have
the
to
rift, though.
all
That's
I
just the
have to
talk
do is
around the
like
rift.
change the standings, the ones where I have standings or like score lines. But yeah, I did have like all of the graphics like made pre-made since like week 1. Just mean I had
Hmm.
to remake them.
Questionable. Questionable. But I'll take it. I'll take your word. But Monkeys Rising, the best team in the league. They're coming off a 2-0 win. Oh my god. What Packapole want more from this team? They come out of IBS. They play decent into when they lose, and they're just like stomping teams when they win. I don't know. They're just too good.
Yeah, I mean, again, like I'm in that same boat as you. I do think Monkeys Rising, coming from the Jungle Gym trademark, they're they're, I feel like again, like I said before, they're a different team. And I'm just kind of like I've always felt like Monkeys Rising is on that border of being a really, really good team. They're so close to crossing that finish line between just being like an okay team to like a really good team. So I think, after coming from last week's win, this I don't know, like I feel like they're just gonna be a different team this week. So, if Monkeys Rising makes playoffs, and they, have a good chance, as we talked about before, then, I'm going to be pretty happy. So, Clutch, Matt Pizza, both of you said 2-0 VBU. So, Clutch, we'll start with you. This is, is this the reverse psychology again? You think they're going to actually drop this week?
Mm, no, I think it's VBU should be able to win. I mean, yeah, Chitin's not playing, but VBU I think is just too good of a team to lose. Now, obviously, Monkeys Rising have overperformed, and a win here would be a huge statement for them if they are able to win. But yeah, I just think you know VBU is just kind of, it's not even bias really, because I always vote against VBU. Uh, but I think that VBU has a very high chance to win with their team against Monkeys Rising.
Yeah, like you said, Kaiten I don't think is playing this week, so it'll be
No,
a
it's
little bit
not.
different. So, Matt Pizza, despite that, you knew before you knew Kaiten was going to be playing this week, and you still made the 2-0
Hmm.
VBU prediction.
All I'm gonna say is if VBU does their homework and like looks at what Pac Paul has been teaching them in the jungle gym, that it's kind of obvious of what they're doing, and like not leaking anything, it is bannable, and you just gotta like do your research a little bit, do your homework, and I think it should be a clean and easy 2-0 for VBU. And like yeah, even without Kaiden playing, I do still think it's gonna be a clean 2-0 for VBU. Just gotta do your homework.
Okay, I like it. I like it. Honestly, I feel like this might be a closer matchup than people are, anticipating, or I could just be wrong. Who knows? But we'll look at the next series of this week. It is Abyssal Sapphire versus Revolution Esports Clutch. Me and Matt Pizza, we all said 2-0 for the cool Reaper Octopus thing versus Sultan. You said 2-1 for Revolution.
That was the hot take.
It's a hot take. Okay, okay.
Yeah, this is more than a hot take.
This
This
is
is like
I like this take. I love hot takes, except when they come from Matt Pizza. So
What?
Sultan, Sultan, please
well,
explain your hot take this week.
well, I just think, although I think they're kind of like on the same chain with Hawkthorn, where like they started really strong, and then they even like it's been kind of up and downs for them. I think they have a really good mid laner. I think Unknown Angel, he can like just win games for Revolution alone, and if he can put his best game on the table, I think Rev can just like win any game against any team. Of course, they can also lose because sometimes one person on the team is not enough. But if like four players play decent or like just don't end and Unknown Angel just starts smurfing, I think they can win. I kind of put my hopes in Unknown Angel, and uh, I'm hoping him to get me a kind of dub in the table. Please, you got this. I
He's like,
believe in you.
please, please.
I believe in you. I need
So,
to get
you
an edge from
know,
these guys.
Tex himself said they didn't have enough money in the budget to send me a jersey, so sometimes I gotta vote for the team that that's been behind that's been supporting me. So Abyssal Sapphire, like, but in all seriousness, I really have to just kind of draw back on what Clutch said earlier, that Abyssal is kind of where they belong right now. They showed us how good they are and who they can beat, but we still know who they can lose to. So Abyssal, obviously, I think this is a team that they can beat through, all of our predictions. So I don't really have too much to say. Like Sultan said before, I do think Revolution still has a chance to maybe pull like a win from Abyssal, but we'll have to see. This isn't the stream match, so who knows at that point. Matt Pizza, you said 2-0 Abyssal Sapphire. Then what do you think then? What do you think is going to put Abyssal Sapphire ahead of Revolution?
I think Abyssal is they're just a more cohesive team. And I think that cohesion brings about their strength, right? Like, I'll be honest, when you were like, oh yeah, Abyssal's gonna win, I was just like,
Well,
what's
like
going on
you're
here?
hating on me week one, by the way. I had almost perfect
Yeah,
prediction. 3 out of the 4 series, I had them down to the game number, Matt Pizza.
I was just like, okay, I see. And then, over the weeks, I slowly was convinced. I was like, you know what? All right, Xerion convinced me. I'm an Abyssal fan as well. And yeah, I mean, all those weeks of them winning just really did help. So I'll hop on the Abyssal hype train.
The Abyssal hype train. Yeah, I mean, I'm expecting that Abyssal makes it into the upper bracket. I think. I don't know if they'd make it. I'd have to double check. Actually, I do think that Abyssal would make the upper bracket of the playoffs and the top, the winners bracket. But again, we would have to see. I feel like it's still just a little bit too early. I need to see how they do this week for like when people lock in, and then we would actually like know. But if I had to guess, I would say they're probably the third seed going into it. But Clutch as the last one on our list. Who do you like? Then okay, who do you think is the biggest what's the word? The biggest carry player for Abyssal that they need to play around.
Fire of the Fox. Straight. That guy's insane. He's top 3 mids in the league. Maybe you could make a case for top 2. I think him, Dracana, and uh who am I who am I missing? Chitin, yes. Those 3 actually could be 3 of the best, like 3 of the top 5 players in the league. Like mid is so stacked. And that doesn't even count like Unknown Angel, who is a very, very good player. I think he's a really good mid. That doesn't count Ave, who's on BDE, who did very good against Dracana last week. Like the mid pool is by far the most stacked pool. Like every single one of the mid laners, maybe besides like 2, are like actual like superstars. Like they are insane. So I think in this league you have to play around your mid laner because they're just that damn good. Like all these mids are insane for sure.
Yeah, I think my matchup to actually watch for this week is definitely between Fire and the Fox and Unknown Angel. I think it'll be a really good matchup. So, if this was a streamed game, that would be, my matchup to watch. But then we will look at our last and streamed match of the game. Obviously, it is Big Duck Entourage versus Flippa, like we said in the announcement, and you guys probably saw from the vote. So, Matt Pizza and I are on the right side of the vote here for Flippa, while Clutch and Sultan are on the 2-1 for BDE. So, it's kind of interesting. We've all kind of agreed that this is going to be a 2-1, a 3-game series. So I'm going to be in a stream prison for like 3 hours. So we'll start back with Sultan. Sultan, you said 2-1 BDE this week. So last week, I remember correctly. Yeah, you said Hyperion versus BDE. So Hyperion would have won. But then what do you think is the reason that you're voting for BDE this week?
Well, I did say Flippa is like a team they can win against anyone and lose against anyone. Like after BD beat Hyperion, I think they're just like coming off a huge win. And I think Flippa clinched playoffs, right?
Yes, but
And
they
like
can still get like sixth.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah. So like they're playing for seeding, but BD is just like trying to get themselves into the playoff spot. So I think it's a more critical match for BD, and I think they're gonna play with they're gonna like try hard more.
They're
Let's
gonna
say.
like pull out
I
the
guess.
big guns, you know? They're like
Yeah,
gonna
yeah, yeah.
crack down.
Like
Yeah, okay.
this is the like last match if they don't win. So they
Yeah.
gotta bring everything that they've got to the table. Flippa, I think the fact that they can lose, they can afford to lose, can maybe like just make them take this game a little uh like not seriously.
Mm-hmm.
I think they would still play their play the series out really good. I just think BD would win, just because how much they need to win would be like a pushing force for them.
So then on the flip side, Matt Pizza, you said 2-1 for Flippa. So then do you then agree that like Flippa might not try as hard, but they're just better? Or what do you think then coming into this series?
I think coming into this series that all eyes are going to be on Flipper's bot lane, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
Rift City and Spheric, as they like to play around their bot side. Like we've said this many times before, that their bot lane is one of the best bot lanes in EGL. And honestly, it's just like it's whether or not they can get a lead, right? And I think that determines the game. And I think the first game, I think this is how it's gonna go. First game, Flipper is just gonna like test the waters, try out stuff against BD to see if they woke up on the right side of the bed or not. And then they're just gonna go full force at it games 2 and 3. They're just gonna just draft gap. They're just gonna come into the game stronger with what they want to do, and they'll
Just
just
kind of skill
take
gap,
over.
or
It's just the
I
skill
don't
gap.
know if Altazi or Psych is playing this week. So
I think it's probably Psych. I think Altai
okay.
is still on his little vacation, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree. Like, obviously, I have the same prediction as you. I'm kind of in that same train of thought that Flippa, is going to kind of know BDE's weaknesses going into it, and they're gonna know how to abuse it. Like you said,
Hmm.
Mad Pizza, the bot lane for Flippa. I was about to say BFE. I guess I wouldn't be wrong if I said that. But for Flippa. Flippa's bot lane, I think, is a big highlight. Like, as we've seen on stream before. And obviously, last week, like I mentioned, 21-2 on Tristana. It's a little nasty. I think we just gotta ban it, fellas. I think it's the ban button as our
Hmm.
greatest
Hmm.
counter to it. But like you said, it really depends if they can get that snowball rolling. If they can just, like, find a tiny, like, pinpoint through BDE, and then it just skyrockets from there, and then it becomes a huge lead, and then like all of a sudden, you're looking at the 21-2 Tristana. You don't know what to do, right? So it really depends. Like I know you talked about it before too, Matt Pizza, that can Big Duck Entourage neutralize these kind of threats and neutralize these kind of entryways that Flippa is going to be looking for. So again, I really think this is a good matchup. It's going to be obviously the series that everyone wanted to see since I mean the vote was close for a while and then it pulled ahead. I don't know. I wasn't really looking at the vote, but Clutch as the last person on the desk 2-1 BDE. So, your thoughts?
all right, boys. This is literally the tournament arc. All right. BDE starts out 0-4. It's looking grim. It's not looking good. And then it happens. Boom! They beat Hawthorne. 1-4. They stay alive for playoffs. Next week, Hyperion, the Titans, #1 seed. Boom! 2-0 upset. 2-4. This team is 4-1 in their game score in their past two series, boys. They are on a winning streak, and this is it. They can't end here. All right. This is the anime arc. All right. We were memeing anime arc for EGL. We even have the picture and everything. This is
Yeah.
BDE's anime arc. They're going to win this week. They're going to make it into the playoffs. And it's going to be the 3-0 end to the season. They are
So,
going to do it.
my take on that then. You're saying that BDE,
Yep.
they win this series, right? By your
Yep.
prediction. Then
Yep.
they start in the losers bracket. So either as the 5th or the 6th seed.
Mm-hmm.
And then they make that miracle run to finals.
Never said Miracle run to finals. I said they're just making playoffs. Let's not get it too out of ourselves. All right.
Okay,
We
clutch.
gotta start small.
Okay, we start small, one foot in front of the other. So
Yeah.
BDE, I do understand and I do see where you're coming from. I think that is a very real possibility. You know, BDE has been on that winning streak. They have been doing well. So it really comes down to just I feel like it's such a close balance, and it's like one thing just tips the scale in one way or the other for each team. Then it's like, I mean, it's just gonna be all hell breaking loose. So yeah, I do like that take. BDE, I don't know if you guys are gonna do the miracle run. I don't know if we'll see you guys in finals, but I mean, yeah, a playoff spot is, you know, very in. It's very close, very in reach. So that's all I kind of have to say about that one. So, I mean, I don't think we have any more extra thoughts or closing remarks. I guess we can end a little bit early tonight. So, I mean, thank you guys always for tuning in. This was our very last EGL Waveline for the regular season. I don't know if Clutch, are you going to keep doing like kind of written content for the league?
No,
after?
I will. I'll
Okay.
keep writing. I'll do playoff predictions for playoffs. I'll analyze series.
All right,
I'll break
so
it down.
he's gonna break it down. He's gonna break it down into the series. So obviously, we're gonna see you guys at 8 p.m. Eastern. We're gonna be watching Big Duck Entourage versus Flippa United. It will be casted by Packapal and Colonel. And I'm gonna wait for Packapal to DM me about the jungle gym. I'm gonna give him my prices. So hopefully we will see you guys there. If you guys are playing tonight, you know, good luck in your series. Otherwise, you know, make sure you tune in, say hi, and we'll see you when we watch BDE Gold versus Flippa United.